Okay, let me unpack this Verstappen story because it's way more interesting than just another athlete being humble. Imagine being the biggest star in your sport, having single-handedly revived a national obsession, and then refusing to take credit for it. That's Max Verstappen in 2023. But why? What's the deal here? Let's dive in. First, the facts. Verstappen enters F1 at 17, breaks records, wins titles, and becomes a Dutch national icon. The Dutch GP returns in 2021 after a 36-year hiatus. Logically, you'd connect those dots and say, duh, of course it's because of him. But Verstappen? He sidesteps the narrative. He's like, nah, it's not all me. And that's where it gets fascinating. Why downplay his role in something so obvious? Personally, I think this is where Verstappen separates himself from the typical sports superstar mold. Most athletes would lean into that savior role, see LeBron, Messi, or even Hamilton claiming they elevated their sport's popularity. But Verstappen? He's almost philosophically opposed to the idea. He's not just being humble, he's making a point about how sports growth isn't about individuals. What's up with that? Maybe it's his racing pedigree. His dad was a driver too. He grew up seeing how the ecosystem works, not just one person's impact. Now, the Dutch GP's return. The article says it's set to be the last for some time because F1 didn't extend the contract. That's wild to me. Here's a race that's become a neon orange party, a cultural moment, and F1's already talking about moving on. But Verstappen's response is telling. He focuses on the grassroots, kids dreaming of racing, Dutch drivers succeeding in lower tiers. To him, the Real win isn't a headline-grabbing GP, it's the pipeline. That's a long-game mindset most athletes don't vocalize. What many people don't realize is how much F1 relies on these national heroes to prop up its global brand. The US GP exists partly because of IndyCar crossovers and American drivers. Japan's races thrived in the Schumacher of Ferrari era. But Verstappen's saying, don't tie the sport's health to me. That's risky for F1, honestly. They want him to be the face, but he's refusing to let his stardom overshadow the sport's collective progress. A detail I find fascinating. He mentions Dutch drivers thriving in various classes. That's not just humility, it's strategy. By highlighting others, he's creating a safety net for Dutch motorsport's future. If F1 pulls out of Zandvoort, the talent pipeline doesn't die because it's not all riding on his shoulders. It's like building a decentralized fan base, which is brilliant. No single point of failure. This raises a deeper question. How do we measure an athlete's legacy? Verstappen's redefining it. It's not about trophies or even races hosted. It's about creating a culture that outlives your career. He's playing the 4D chess here. When he says, it's more important to see motorsports popular now, he's acknowledging the hype cycles fade. But if you plant seeds in karting programs and junior series, that's lasting. If you take a step back, this mirrors how tech companies talk about ecosystems over flagship products. Verstappen's treating Dutch F1 fandom like a platform, not a one-off app. He's not the gatekeeper, he's the gardener. And that's why he doesn't care about credit. The garden grows whether he's there or not. That's the ultimate flex, really. So here's my closing thought. In an era where athletes monetize their personal brand to the max, Verstappen's anti-credit stance feels revolutionary. It challenges the cult of personality in sports. But is it selfless, or just smart? By decoupling his legacy from F1's calendar decisions, he insulates himself from the backlash if Zandvoort drops off. Either way, he's already won the cultural battle. The Orange Army isn't going anywhere. And that, more than any trophy, is his masterpiece.